I swear, I might have set a calendar reminder if I had known that neglecting one foolish birthday would ruin my entire life. Who, after all, goes crazy over a birthday? This is the story of my 29-year-old husband, Freya, who blew it out of proportion and served me with divorce papers because I had scheduled a much-needed trip over his birthday week. I had been married to Marlon for 5 years. We met at a house party through mutual friends. He was the silent man who stared at me from the corner. I found his shyness endearing at the time. I can see that he was simply uninteresting from the beginning. Don't get me wrong, he has some positive traits. He's trustworthy, has a good job that covers his expenses, and he's not ugly. God, though, the man lacks any spirit of adventure. Trying out a different restaurant or viewing a documentary instead of his typical crime series are his ideas of excitement. I'm the one who keeps our relationship going by always scheduling dinner parties, weekend activities, and social interactions. I pull him to these events half the time while he whines that he would rather stay at home. How pitiful is that, really? Who wants to sit on a couch and waste their youth? Every time Marlon mentions having children, I've been nodding along for years. I would tell him, maybe next year, while wearing my most optimistic grin. Actually, I haven't told him that I've been using birth control the entire time. Children. With my body? No. But by preserving that goal for him, he was able to ignore my growing boredom and remain focused on our future family. Judith, his mother, is another matter. That woman keeps a close eye on me and is always asking why we don't get together more or making insignificant remarks about how I manage the house. I'm the ideal daughter-in-law in her eyes. Freya, dear, Marlon loves my pot roast. You should really get the recipe. This old lady can take her pot roast and shove it, in my opinion. I'd love that, Judith. You're such an amazing cook. When I received a Facebook message from Tasha, my roommate from college, everything changed. She was planning a 10-day girls' trip to Cabo, complete with clubs, beaches, and independence from boyfriends and husbands. Plans burst in the group chat, and all of a sudden I recalled what it was like to feel enthusiastic about anything. As I chuckled at my phone, Marlon would look over and ask, "Who are you texting?" I would say, "Just Tasha and the girls," while tilting the screen away. Not because I was suspicious, but because I needed to make sure he wasn't complaining too. His friends about me, I also started looking at his phone at night. It became my nightly ritual to glance over his texts while he was taking a shower. He had that expression on his face that told me he was going to be challenging when I brought up the trip. Glancing at his planner, he questioned, "That's the second week of June, right?" Naturally, he maintains a physical planner as if it were 1995. "Yeah, we leave on the 12th. The rates are amazing that week." I chose to interrupt him, saying, "Freya, everything has been reserved by the girls. There is no reimbursement." I had to end any disagreement before it began, even though that was a lie. I went shopping for new clothes and swimwear as the trip drew near. I unintentionally knocked down the vintage model airplane that Marlon had spent months assembling when he questioned the credit card charge. I shifted the conversation while he was occupied picking up small fragments. It always works. 10 days away from dull Marlon, his critical mother, and our monotonous life together was my ticket to feeling alive once more. I had 10 days to recall my identity prior to becoming married. I honestly couldn't stop thinking about the vacation, which was just 3 weeks away. Marlon's incessant questioning was making me crazy, and our flat seemed to be getting smaller every day. "Have you paid your electricity bill? Is the credit card statement something we can discuss? God, please let me rest." While Marlon slept, I began to stay up late and browse the Cabo group chat. Tasha had planned a full schedule, including daytime beach clubs, nighttime fine dining, and a boat party on the third day. I needed at least another $1,000 to spend on new clothes, which I had previously done for about $2,000. Marlon said, "You've been on your phone a lot," at a dinner one evening. I hardly raised my gaze. I carefully avoided going into detail. "Huh? Just finalizing trip details." He could ask fewer questions the less he knew. Saying, "About that?" He set down his fork. "That week is—" "Oh my God!" I interrupted, rolling my eyes after looking at our calendar. My phone buzzed with another message from the group chat, Tasha asking whether anyone wanted to extend for 2 more days. If this is about your work thing, I already told you I can't change the dates. Everyone has booked their flights. It's not a work thing, Freya. I instantly typed, yes, ignoring everything Marlon was saying. I grabbed my phone as soon as he reached for it. My friend Leah texted me to ask if the trip dates coincided with Marlon's birthday, but I ignored her. What are you doing? I'm trying to have a conversation with you, but you're not listening. Because you're being controlling. This trip is happening. I've already used our joint account for the booking. In any case, why was his birthday such a big deal? It's not exactly a milestone to turn 32. I finally discovered what Marlon had been strangely reticent about that evening. A calendar reminder appeared on his phone. Dinner reservations at Giovanni's for his 35th birthday. 35th birthday? How was his 35th birthday? He was only 32, right? Had I truly forgotten how old he was? And Giovanni's was the upscale Italian restaurant with the waiting list that we visited for our anniversary 2 years ago. I had a brief sensation of something. I had already paid for the hotel share and excursions, but then I recalled how costly my tickets to Cabo were. I was not going to cancel now. When I returned, he could celebrate his birthday. It's only a reservation for dinner. I chose not to bring it up after reading the notification on his phone. He wouldn't be harmed by what he didn't know. It all blew up a week before the trip. Marlon showed up in the doorway as I was trying on the new bikini I had purchased, the white one with gold details that was much too expensive but would look fantastic in pictures. We need to talk, he stated in an oddly flat voice. I didn't bother to glance at him as I kept fixing the bikini straps. About what? About the fact that you're leaving for Cabo on my 35th birthday. After a moment of inaction, I shrugged. Oh, is that the same week? I totally forgot. No, you didn't. He held up his phone. Leah texted you about it 3 weeks ago. I saw the notification on your phone. I flipped the situation right away as I gasped. You went through my phone? That's a complete invasion of privacy. That's what you were concerned about? Not the fact that you're abandoning me on my birthday for a vacation with your friends? I grinned. Don't be so dramatic, it's just a birthday. We can celebrate before I leave or after I get back. It's my 35th birthday, Freya. I made reservations at Giovanni's months ago. I invited friends and family. I yelled, well, you should have told me sooner. Even though I knew he had likely said it more than once. Even though we were at odds, I managed to project my ideal wife character while we were having dinner with his coworkers that evening. How thrilled he must be for his birthday celebration, his employer remarked. So I squeezed Marlon's arm and exclaimed, oh, he's beyond excited. I've been planning this for months. The lie came naturally. I started my preemptive assault as we were driving home. Your coworkers are so boring, especially that Dave guy. Does he ever shut up? Dave was being nice, unlike my wife, who's planning to ditch me on my birthday. The divorce card came out as it often did when I had to end a fight. If you bring up this birthday thing one more time, I swear to God I'll leave you. Not every moment of my life has to revolve around you. Marlon didn't apologize as he normally did when we came home. He went directly to his office instead, shutting the door behind him. I'm good with that. I started talking to my Cabo group again after, opening another bottle of wine. My ex-boyfriend Jason, who would also be in Cabo that same week, texted me an hour later. I grinned and said, can't wait to see you. Our hotel is just down the beach from yours. Marlon's foolish birthday seemed to be becoming less and less significant. I was excited when I woke up the day before my trip. I had spent weeks organizing and buying before I finally got to travel to Cabo for 10 wonderful days of freedom. I froze as I reached for my phone to check my flight information. I squinted, certain that I had misinterpreted the words, your reservation has been canceled. The statement didn't alter even when I reloaded the airline app. I had paid about $800 for my reservation, but it was gone. I yelled, Marlon, and barged into his office. With calm eyes, he looked up and asked, what did you do to my flight? Nothing I did affected your flight. It has been canceled. My reservation was canceled by someone. My worst worry was confirmed by the customer support agent I spoke with over the phone. Yesterday afternoon, the reservation was canceled, and the original payment method has been credited with the reimbursement. I demanded to know, who canceled it? The cardholder. Ma'am, we have it logged here. A call came in from the primary account holder. My phone flew across the room. At last, Marlon looked away from his computer and asked, You canceled my flight? How could you? I needed that money. I faintly recalled him discussing his dad's health problems, but I hadn't really listened. For what? To spite me? For my father's medical procedure? The one I've mentioned several times over the past month? The one you'd know about if you ever bothered to listen to me? I grabbed the closest item, a crystal paperweight he had received as a work prize, and threw it at the wall, saying, You had no right. That was my trip. That was our emergency fund that you took without asking. My name is primary on the account. It broke, causing the drywall to get dented. Tasha texted me and my phone buzzed. Leah texted me again before I could reply, saying, Is everything okay? You've been removed from the group chat. We know what's going on with Marlon's birthday. This isn't cool, Freya. What did you do? I switched Marlon on. Did you contact my friends? I didn't need to. They reached out to me when they realized what was happening. They knew about my birthday plans. In fact, they helped me plan them. I received an email notification on my phone. My stomach dropped when I opened it with trembling hands and saw the subject line. Marlon Gibson versus Freya Gibson. Petition for dissolution of marriage. Official divorce papers had already been filed with the court, and there they were. When Marlon came into the kitchen, I held up my phone and said, What is this? Exactly what it looks like, he said, leaning across the doorframe. I filed yesterday. Because of a stupid trip? Because of your birthday, I exclaimed in a frantic tone. You're divorcing me over that? No, Freya. I'm divorcing you because you lie constantly, because you manipulate me, because you disrespect me in front of others, because you threaten divorce every time you don't get your way. He said nothing with emotion. I'm divorcing you. Because I checked your messages and saw your plans to meet Jason in Cabo. I said, You'll regret this, but my voice was shaky. No, he replied plainly. I don't think I will. The next 24 hours passed quickly. I tried calling all of my friends, but none of them would take me in. In fact, Tasha hung up on me. Leah expressed her disappointment in my actions in a lengthy text message. Amanda, my roommate from college, was aware of the situation and refused to assist. I used the emergency credit card that I had concealed from Marlon and wound up at a budget hotel. I was reading through missed calls and texts on the lumpy mattress when reality set in. The universe had changed in some way. Suddenly, though, I wasn't no longer in charge. I called Tasha again, desperate for answers. To her surprise, she replied. I demanded, What is going on? Why is everyone treating me like I'm the villain here? Are you serious right now, Freya? Do you honestly not get it? Get what? Marlon has been planning his 35th birthday celebration for months. He booked Giovanni's back in January. He invited everyone, his family, your family, and all our friends. He even arranged for your parents to fly in from Chicago. My stomach sank. My parents are coming? We're coming. They canceled their flights yesterday after Marlon called to explain the situation. She stopped. He asked us to help pick a date that would work for everyone. That's why we planned the Cabo trip for that week, Freya. We were trying to create a cover so he could surprise you with a vow renewal ceremony on his birthday. The tilting of the room was apparent. The understanding struck me like a blow to the body. A what? A vow renewal for your 5th anniversary, which, by the way, was last month. Another date you apparently forgot. Our anniversary. April 22nd had passed without my knowledge. However, why was I not informed of the birthday plans? Because it was supposed to be a surprise for you too. He wanted to renew your vows in front of everyone who attended your original wedding. He's been saving for it since last year. Her voice cracked with rage. And the whole time you were planning to be in Cabo with us, with your ex waiting nearby? Did you think we didn't know about Jason? Marlon showed us the messages. My mother's response was just as bad. Freya, you've been heading down this path for years. Your father and I have watched you push away everyone who truly cares about you. This is unbelievable, I sighed. My husband violates my privacy, steals my money, turns my friends against me, and you're on his side? The money was joint savings, honey, and he didn't turn anyone against you. He simply showed them the truth. She stopped. We're not taking sides. We're just not enabling you anymore. My attempt to share my perspective on social media proved to be a disastrous failure. A screenshot of my text conversations with Jason was posted in a comment within minutes. Another sent a video of our most recent dinner party, in which I was heard making fun of Marlon's recent work presentation while he was in the kitchen. Was completely unaware that anyone was taping. As the humiliation on the internet increased, I at last realized how serious the situation was. Over the course of months, if not years, Marlon had been constructing his case, painstakingly compiling proof of my actions, and he had done it in such a tactful manner that I had no suspicions. 6 months later, I'm sitting in my small Houston one-bedroom apartment with boxed wine and past-due bills all around me. My court-appointed lawyer says the divorce was finalized last week, record time. After what transpired at work, I was unable to afford a private one. I was called into my manager's office 2 weeks after Marlon filed for divorce. They had apparently heard accusations about me fabricating expense reports and disparaging clients. For years, I had been doing it with no repercussions, but all of a sudden, people were taking notice. It was a joke of a divorce settlement. After reviewing Marlon's evidence, which included recordings, bank records, and friend testimonies to my actions, the judge gave him everything but my car and personal items. Since the marriage lasted barely 5 years and I'm still young enough to support myself, I didn't even receive alimony. Tell that to my landlord, who demanded 3 months' rent as a security deposit due to my new high-risk financial situation, or to my credit score, which plummeted after Marlon produced evidence that I had been concealing purchases and lying about payments for years. I had to see a therapist and accept responsibility for my conduct before my parents would allow me to return to Chicago, as though I were the one who ruined our lives over a pointless birthday. I made the decision to use a phony social media account to check in on Marlon last month. A poor choice. I always refuse to do it with him since I detest perspiring, but his profile image has been updated to show him grinning on a hiking route. In addition to losing weight and growing a short beard that looks excellent, he also obtained another promotion at work, based on his status updates. However, the worst, is that he is seeing Leah, my old acquaintance who reportedly harbored feelings for him for years but respected our marriage. They made it official on Facebook last week when she started leaving heart-shaped comments on all of his pictures. To confront Leah about this betrayal, I attempted to message her, but she blocked me on all platforms. Actually, every one of my old pals has. After the divorce news leaked, Jason, who allegedly intended to get back in touch in Cabo, never answered my texts. I intend to keep my narrative a secret from my new coworkers at the contact center. The salary hardly covers my car payment and rent, leaving me with nothing left over for the kind of living I'm accustomed to. No more weekend getaways, upscale dining establishments, or luxury clothing. In order to pay the security deposit for this flat, I had to sell the majority of my belongings. Marlon's 36th birthday was yesterday. Even though I unfollowed his profile, Facebook graciously reminded me, so I know. All of our mutual friends appeared happier at the party Leah threw him at our favorite restaurant than he ever did with me, so I spent the evening browsing through pictures. As if I'm the issue, some people on the internet have advised me to grow from this experience or improve myself. Without informing me, everyone else altered the rules. Marlon tolerated my actions for years, always forgiving and always returning, regardless of what I said or did. How could I have known that this time would be different? I'm the one who deserves pity the most. I am the one who lost everything because I wanted one vacation without my spouse, friends, career, and way of life. For once, I don't have to think about what other people need. The financial hardship and loneliness aren't the worst parts. It is witnessing Marlon flourish in my absence. With someone else, he's leading the life we were meant to lead together. Someone who seems to value every aspect of him that I found uninteresting and constrictive. I'll do the same thing I've been doing every night for the last 6 months tonight. I'll pour myself another glass of boxed wine, order expensive takeout, and browse social media, gazing at the life I've lost. Everyone has blocked me, so I'll write angry messages that I'll never send. They'll all understand what they lost when they pushed me away, I'll tell myself. And I'll ignore the little voice in the back of my head that tells me, I did this to myself, the truth I don't want to admit. To be honest, though, I still believe I did nothing wrong. Therefore, I would probably do it all over again. It was merely a foolish birthday,